All right, hello everyone, and welcome back for the final time of this series to the Beyond the Summit Series EU. This is game number 2 of a 2-game series between Escape and Yellow Submarine. Escape took a triumphant game 1 on the back of an awesome Dusa, Keeper the Light, and of course, a mid Skywrath Mage. Now we're going to see what game number 2 has in store for us. Already an interesting draft underway, but first, I'm AnneeDroid, being joined once again by Mad Kings. How's it going, man?
Like you said, interesting, great game too. I like what Yellow Submarines is doing to start off with because with the Winter Wyvern to respond to the Drow Ranger is something that I have thought about in a long time. Winter Wyvern was the classic response to any kind of aggressive draft. The Drow Ranger, well, clearly fits that kind of aggression. It's not as good when you don't have a Shadow Demon alongside the Drow Ranger, but it should still be pretty good to at least keep the Drow Ranger away from getting easy towers all the time. The Elder Titan also very powerful support hero. They have picked up both support heroes now, so the draft is a little bit stuck, I guess, for the side of Yellow Submarines, but we'll see what they can do with the next three core picks.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, not to say disappointed, but we don't get to see another Yap God Elder Titan play. Some of those stomps, some of those Earth Splitters were just perfectly on the money, but we'll see how it holds up in the hands of Yellow Submarine. Now, with Elder Titan Winter Wyvern picked up first, that's a support duo revealed. So you've got your mid, your off lane, and your safe lane left to go. That does leave Escape to be able to target some really nice specific bans.
Yeah, and it's always a little bit annoying when, as in the draft, if you show both of your support heroes to begin with, because then Escape can kind of, in the head draft, okay, this is how the rotations will be from the supports, this is how we should deal with them, and so on and so forth. So they know what to expect from the support heroes, and, the laners will be more static anyways, so they should be able to come up with a nice response to the Elder Titan. The Winter Wyvern will probably just be, stuck in the safe lane. The ET will be the one who can, walk around and create some chaos, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, early rotating Elder Titans are so potent. Now, Escape, they've got themselves a Drow Ranger. It was, I believe, second round banned out last time. So that's going to be a nice little carry for them. Who do they combine with it? Are they going to go for that full on, pick 5 range heroes and spiral out of control? Or are they going to run the Drow as more of that, typical traditional position 1?
As far as I can remember, Escape Gaming, they like to have the what is it, the backup plan, have like something like a mid Medusa or mid Storm Spirit or something like that, who can abuse the precision aura, and you don't have to like put everything in one basket, and if you don't win with the Drow early on, you just lose the game. So I imagine they will do the same this game. Because the Drow Ranger doesn't deal too well with all of these control spells. You have the Void with the Chrono, the Echo Stomps. I would like to see from Escape Gaming, a mid Medusa, perhaps even
Nah,
something like an
Windrunner.
OD. Windrunner, that's your hero, I guess.
Dude, I want to see a mid Windrunner. I think Escape can execute it. Oof, just right. But also the potential for a Storm Spirit. It did pretty well last game, but now with a Drow Ranger, Storm Spirit's win rate in pro matches goes up a significant amount just because his early game, that vulnerable window pre-level 6, goes so much better. Now a Tinker pickup comes out. Good.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I was gonna say
Oh,
that
okay.
just
First,
sets
give me
up for
some
the
credit
Storm
for that
Spirit.
storm.
Yeah, you get the credit for it.
Thank
But I
you.
was gonna say, like with the Tinker being picked up, it's just so much value from a Storm. You have the natural counter to the Tinker. You have a Bad Rider amazing against Tinker. You have a Storm Spirit who can just ball lightning on top of him and say hello. So Escape Gaming, they have a nice draft. They have the Bad Rider in the offlane as well. If they can pick up something like an Ogre Magi, I imagine that will be banned out by Yellow Submarines. But if they can get it, any kind of lane support for the Bat to create some pressure in the offlane, I think they will just be able to do too much work for Yellow Submarines to handle.
All right, so moving in, we've got one more ban out, Escape. Most likely running that Batrider in the offlane position. He's completely viable, and that does leave another support. Who are we going to see here? I mean, so far Escape have 4 ranged. Are they going to, complete the trifecta, pick up another Keeper of the Light for good old Sind, or what's going to be going down?
I think they will just pick a lane support like the Ogre in the offlane just to make Bad Rider have an easy time. That's pretty much the only thing I can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, just making sure you have those stable lanes is so crucial because right now Escape are going to have a ridiculous power spike. 15 to 30 minutes. It should be their time, unless there's going to be some phenomenal rotations from the Titan, unless Tinker gets out of control. But I love the draft Escape are putting out. It seems really cohesive. They've got that lockdown in the form of Storm Spirit zipping in, grabbing you up, Batrider with the lasso. You bring in Drow Ranger from the back lines who just wants to hammer out like a sentry turret. And the big way to counter a Drow Ranger, especially if she's in that typical position 1 role, is gap close. She wants to be able to sit far back, even perhaps building up a Dragon Lance and wail at you from a safe distance. You do have heroes like the Faceless Void that can time walk into you, but for now there's not a whole lot of ability to just jump on that Drow Ranger. There's no Phantom Assassin to go in and backstab you, no Ricky. How do you get close to that Drow?
I think that game plan is pretty much just to prolong the game. They have the Tinga and the Winter Wyvern who's amazing at just making sure that Escape can never go high ground in the early game. However, it's not like Escape Gaming only has the Drow Ranger. Like the Storm Spirit will pick up the slack when the Drow Ranger starts falling behind. The best way that I think that Yellow Submarines can, get that draft to work together is if they put the Void in the safe lane and then, get an early amount of farm on him, maybe an early Blink Dagger on him, so they can get that gap closing on the Drow and make some plays and then pick up another offlaner, because if they send the Void to the offlane, I feel like this is going to be too weak a draft early on, because Void doesn't do anything to a Drow lane. Like, the Drow can actually just solo the lane and still not be contested by a Void because of his damage output. So I don't think Void offlane is viable in this situation.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they're going to go for here. I'm hoping Yellow Submarine end with some sort of either stun or invis or ability to sneak up on that Drow Ranger. Otherwise, Escape might just easy breezy finish it off. Escape's last pick. We'll see what secondary support they're going to be going for. If it's going to be more rotation heavy, if it's going to be a lane support like that Ogre you talked about. Earth Spirit is banned out, so they're not going to get that little boy rotating mid, but Keeper of the Light, I don't know. We'll see if Cinderan's pushing for that.
We'll see. They do ban out the Anti-Mage. Makes sense, because Anti-Mage is one of those heroes that it's super greedy if Yellow Submarines were to pick it up, but
Support
if you
Mirana.
blow up a Storm Spirit, it could be crazy. And Mirana?
Support Mirana is still available. Again, with the Precision Aura, she's going to be hitting hard, even if she doesn't get to go for that Aghanim Scepter, but it's situational. Definitely not, priority pick. And oh my god.
Okay, so, well, it's not an Ogre like I kind of thought it would be, but it is still, it's a tanky hero. It's a hero that can create some lane stabilization by being tanky, and just, he can go up and soak a lot of spells. He can soak up a lot of right clicks. It's interesting, though. It's a Pudge, right? It's a Pudge. Yapslaw Pudge? Okay, that makes sense.
It's looking an awful lot like my pubs. I'm a little bit triggered, but no, I'm excited to see Yapsor play it up. Surprised he's not playing the Storm Spirit. Just poking around on his Dota buff. He has an absurd amount of Storm games, but I guess he's sticking to that support role here, as they are going to put their more traditional mid laner Quakefa on the Storm.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. The Pudge, that Yapsa picks up something like a Pudge, because, like you said, with the ET, he's the kind of position 4 player that wants to make a lot of big plays, and the Ogre or heroes like that cannot do too much, but Pudge definitely, fancy hooks, fancy positions where he can do something, that kind of fits his mentality at least.
All right, excited to see this play out. The last pick, Sand King, does offer a little bit of that gap close we talked about against the Drow Ranger, but if she plays safe, even potentially going for some really slippery, annoying items like the Drow Shadow Blade, definitely a possibility to go in and start these things off right. But Escape, they've got their pick-off tools. They're very gank-oriented with the Pudge hooks, with the Drow Ranger sneaking up on you, the Storm Zips, and the Bat Blink lassos. I think this is going to keep Yellow Submarine thoroughly on their toes the whole game long.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if Yellow Submarines actually go for dual lane. I imagine that the ET plus Sand King will try and contest the Drow, so I like the Sand King pick for that purpose. They want an offlaner who can do something in the early game, not just, sit there and be another person who just watches the Drow farm or whatever. So contesting the lane is going to be a lot easier now that they have the ET Sand King. We saw that in the previous series, that it can do a lot of work, this duo. So should be pretty interesting. They can even go for tri-lane if they want to go full YOLO and have the Void as a solo here against the Bat. It's not the best matchup, but once the Faceless Void has his time dilation, he should at least not be killed by Kitsu.
All right, let's go ahead and check out the teams here on the side of Escape. We are going to have Cinderin playing up the Oracle. Over here near the top rune, Yapsor on the Pudge, Era on the Storm Spirit. We're going to have Koikva on the Drow Ranger. Looks like he's heading mid here. Interesting choice there. And then down bottom, Keizu on the Bat Rider. You want to go ahead and take a stab at our yellow submariners?
All right, we have... I don't know. We have Bugdawa on the Tinker. We have Flo playing the Sand King. We have PSM on the Elder Titan, Kef on the Winter Wyvern, and TTR on the Void. And like you said, Storm Spirit safe lane. That's
definitely an interesting choice here. Was not expecting that one.
I think it's because they expect the Sand King ET dual lane, so the Storm Spirit provides a little bit more damage in the lane with the early like static remnant spam. And, you know, as a mid laner, Drow or Storm, I think it's pretty equal who would be up against the Tinker. Like, it doesn't really matter which of the two.
Yeah, alright. Precision Aura leveled up, so all the rest of the heroes on the map are going to be doing some serious work. And then, again, we do see this free farming Era Storm Spirit. Is the Storm Spirit's build going to kind of divert from the typical mid-storm, or are we going to see very similar items coming out?
Usually go for exactly the same, like just Bloodstone Rush in the safe lane position. In the mid lane, you sometimes divert your build a little bit. Like if you have a high time, you may go for an Eels. You may consider going for an Orchid if you want to be super aggressive. But as a safe laner, I've never seen anything but just like Bloodstone Rush.
Alright, well Keizu unfortunately may have bitten off more than he can chew, trying to flap away from this one, but he's slowed down. He's going to eat up a Fairy Fire. They can't actually catch him. They can't connect. The Spirit coming back out, but they don't have the Stomp available, so Keizu gets 5 by just a little bit of health, and he's right back to farming, right back to spamming.
Yeah, and Keizu's now level 2 as well, and they were hiding the fact that there were 3 people in the bottom lane, so they were really banking on being able to get that first spot. A nice move from the side of Yellow Submarines, but sadly they just can't get the kill, and now Escape Gaming, they know that there's 2 support heroes in the bottom lane, and they can play accordingly. The Sand King is jungling, so Escape Gaming, they have a lot of freedom to just pretty much, you know, play as greedy as they want. The Oracle can start just massively pulling. I imagine the Pudge will continue pulling until he's level 2, because, you know, Rod is an amazing spell, sure, but without the hook, you're not a Pudge.
Yeah, now Era leading the last hit charts, of course. It doesn't say a whole lot, we're only 2 waves in, but he's just sitting back, he's getting some really good farm for himself, and isn't feeling any pressure, as our little off-lane Sand King is opt to hop into the jungle for some easier farm. Now, what does Yellow Submarine have to do to keep the Storm Spirit in check? Because he's not one of those heroes you can just let free farm and feel secure. Once he gets his items, once he grabs his Bloodstone, he's all over the map hunting you down. How do you deal with that?
What I imagine that will happen in the next couple of minutes is that Yapsol and Syndon will potentially both rotate to the bottom lane and make it a 3-on-3 lane, so they can put a lot of pressure on the Void, and then at that point the Sand King will go up and contest the Storm Spirit, but more like contesting the Storm Spirit is just naturally going to be hard, because once he has a couple of levels to his name and gets past that like early, well, I guess weakness by not being able to do too much and just drop 1 static remnant, he should be fine unless they can commit like 2 to 3 heroes. So I don't think they will do anything fancy like that. They'd rather want to just secure the Tinker and secure the Void's farm.
Alright, now taking a look at our mid lane, I mean, obviously it's going relatively even in terms of CS. Quakeva having a tough time getting those right clicks just because of that laser blind. A little bit annoying, but Quakeva's surviving just fine, able to return a little bit harass onto the Tinker as well. What's the momentum going to be like, and are we going to see a lot of rotations mid?
You should see a lot of movement from both teams. Like the ET is a very natural, you know, ganky hero. The Pudge will do the same thing against the Tinker, so there should be a lot of movements to the mid lane from both teams.
Yeah, so again, just sitting back, pausing up. What are you expecting to happen when we reach that 10-minute mark? Who do you think's going to be ahead? You know, is there going to be any significant lead in terms of kills? Who's going to grab what items? Who's going to have an easier time?
I think, well, it's a Drow set, right? So Escape Gaming should have a better time early on, and with the early blink that could come online on the bat, they will be the first ones to like make any like heavy movements. The only thing that Yellow Submarines have to bank on in terms of like heavy team fights early on is pretty much the Chronosphere, and I guess, you know, Sand King Epicenter with a blink as well could be doing some stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Yellow Submarine actually managed to get the jump onto Dire Heroes, then their team fight can be very successful. The problem is Escape are so mobile, they're so slippery, and they've got so many backup plans. So it's going to be very hard to jump on you. Once your Batrider has Blink, once your Storm Spirit's pretty mobile with that level 6, he's already level 3 at 2 minutes into the game. This solo farm is just allowing him to spiral up and feel so confident in this lane.
Yeah, he's having a good time, and you can see both of the supports, they're just leaving him completely alone. They're getting their own farm by just constantly pulling, and once both of them is near level 3, you should see both of them just making movements in the map and try and, you know, free up some space for the other heroes, like the mid laner, get some kills on the Tinker, or maybe even just help the Batrider if they feel like they want to contest that lane, because Batrider together with 1 or 2 heroes is always a very scary
Ooh,
thing.
stomp onto Quake, they might have the follow-up damage. The heat-seeking missile secures the first blood for the Tinker in the mid lane. So Quakefa is going to be hitting the deck. It did take that Elder Titan rotation like you talked about. He went in, he applied the stomp. It did end up working. But then, you know, you face the risk of heroes like the Oracle and the Pudge now puppy guarding the mid lane once they get their level 3s.
Yeah, like, the Pudge could have also just made an instant rotation when he reached level 2, like the ET did. And then they could have had, like, pretty much an equal fight in the mid lane with the 2 rotations, but in the end, it's PSM who makes the first move, and he's the one who gets the kill.
Kaiser gonna take a casual stomp, but there's that rotation from the Pudge like you talked about. He learned his lesson. He's gonna go protect his Batrider and try to counter some of the farm going the way of the Spaceless Void. I mean, this Void's definitely got a long road ahead of him. He's not gonna outscale a Drow strat by 10-15 minutes, but do you think that Yellow Submarine can take this late and eventually outscale Escape?
It's gonna be hard, but the late game is actually fairly even, I would say. I don't think that Yellow Submarines in the super late game will have a very big advantage, because even though Tinker is an amazing hero at that point, you're playing against 2 heroes who is very strong against you, like the Storm as well as the Bat.
Mid lane, a little bit of a wraparound coming in. The stomp does latch onto Quake, but there is going to be a hook, at least dragging Flow back in, maybe looking to get something for his troubles, but Yapzor, is he going to be able to get this done? Jukes out by Flow. Yapzor, is he fast enough? He's got the boots, but Sand King scooting away. It looks like there is going to be a Spirit available. Oh, PSM, can he connect with the stomp? He will not be able to lock down Yapzor. Now Cinderin looking to initiate. There is the hook available. Yapzor holding on to it as Cinderin was kind of blocking the way there. And it's going to be only a level 1 hook.
Wait.
What is,
Cinderin actually sidestepped to allow him to get the hook, and by doing that, he missed the kill. That was interesting.
Alright, well, early kill is nothing that can't be made up in the mid-game team fights. Now Era finally feeling a touch of pressure as Sand King comes up, bops him with a caustic finale. But Era's already at his soul ring, already has treads. He's feeling very comfortable. Didn't get bottle. At least doesn't have it on him yet. Where's the courier?
Yeah, you don't get bottle as a safe lane, you just get early soul ring. It gives close to the same amount of region, and he doesn't really spam as many static what's called remnants in the safe lane, because you don't have anyone contesting you, so you don't really have to waste your mana as much as you would in mid lane.
Alright, now Koikfa in the mid, struggling a little bit in terms of last hits. It's actually starting to add up. 19 for the Drow, 27 for the Tinker. So just Koikfa having to sit a little bit farther back, dealing with the blind of the laser is a bit troubling. Now over here, Yapzor gonna pump right into the Wyvern. Wyvern does have the ability to flap over the cliff, and Yapzor not gonna immediately follow up with a hook. Just keeping the Winter Wyvern on her toes. Lots of early rotations, but Escape have got to start getting some momentum for themselves. They've got no kills. They're hard farming their Storm Spirit, but their Drow mid is starting to suffer. And I mean, this Tinker is not too far off from his boots of travels.
Yeah, the Batrider is trying to just get the fastest possible blink time. You can see he's sitting on 1300 gold with just brown boots, so you should see them just continue to give him space to farm the camps in the jungle. There's 1 stack camp that he can take, actually 2 stack camps, so never mind that. But like you said, they need to start using this Pudge to just help the Drow get his farm in the mid lane.
Alright, speaking of mid lane, over here we're just going to have Koikfa doing it all on her own. I'm really surprised the Pudge hasn't opted to rotate in. Meanwhile, Sand King was able to secure a kill onto the Oracle, but Storm Spirit gets his revenge. So a little bit of a skirmish up top does favor Era in the end, as he's now 1-0 and able to work towards his next little component here. He does end up buying a bottle for himself.
Yeah, it makes sense because now he can see that the Sand King is moving up to the top lane and he can bottle crowd if need be, so he doesn't have to go back to the base. Surely by just using so much mana getting that kill, he wants something so he can keep on farming and doesn't have to worry about anything. It's a nice idea. He's gonna just, you know, like you said, keep on farming. He got a nice kill on the Sand King as well. Oracle for Sand King, definitely not worth it for the side of Yellow Submarines, so it's a good kill for the Storm Spirit.
Alright, so the rotations are starting to add up. Here's going to be our first smoke. Yapsor ready with the hook, looking to connect onto that Tinker, but Winter Wyvern joins the party, trying to keep someone burning down Yapsor, a very tanky hero, hard to get all the way through him, so he will be able to back up, get out with his life, and hopefully purchase up some Tranquil Boots soon.
Yep, and that's what we were talking about earlier. You know, the Pudge making the same movements as the ET is making, but just, you know, he could have done it a little bit earlier, but in the end, he makes it now. The Tinker drops down, and the Drow finally gets some freedom in the mid lane, as his last hit is actually pretty much on the same as Tinker very, very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, last hit game getting a little even, but net worth in charge by the Storm Spirit, who has had a free time here, hasn't gone down yet. He's 2-0, just forced out of lane there by the Sand King, who got up close and personal, but Storm Spirit will be back to farming in no time, and now because he has free farm, he's got free levels, level 8 already. Ball Lightning, ready to go. Mana pool, pretty decent with that null tally for stats. So if
and he can farm stacks as well very, very quickly. Compared to the Faceless Void, he doesn't really farm jungle that fast, so the Storm Spirit will keep on farming a lot faster than the Faceless Void. Blow finds him though, so this could be scary.
He's only level 5, doesn't have the Epi to finish things off, just soaking that XP, not even initiating for last hits. Well, there's the Epi, but Era with the quick reaction should be able to get out just fine.
Yeah, he knows. He could see that he didn't get max experience so late, but he knows that something's up.
Yeah, he's poking around, deciding whether or not he wants to farm. He did just bump into Flo right there, but I don't know if he's going to be keen enough to bring in some vision and have his teammates rotate in. So farming up all around Escape, looking to get their first big round of items before they start rotating and applying the pressure of that Drow strat. What's their window going to be like? When do they have to start being mobile?
On the side of Escape?
Yeah.
Well, I imagine just a blink from Kesu. I'm a little bit surprised that he actually went for the Tranquil Boots. I thought he was just going to go for the Blink Rush. He had like 1200 gold with Brown Boots, but it's only going to delay his blink a little bit. You can see he's scooting towards it as fast as he possibly can, and that's the go signal, right? That's the next go signal when you have blink.
Speaking of go signals here, Flo munching his way into the trees. We'll see if he's going to be trying to aggress here, but Yapsor is going to be at the ready. Only level 4 on this Pudge, so he doesn't have Dismember. A little piece of lockdown, not quite online just yet.
This is a little bit scary.
They are just on each other's tails right now.
That's a little bit close for comfort right there.
Yeah, Flo's going to reveal to lane now. He does have that Epi, so if he gets a really nice window, he can go in and just knock down a ton of damage. But Yapsor goes in right after the Caustic Finale takes effect, but immediate Burrow Strike out, and there's Era to finish the job. Winter Wyvern cannot keep the bug alive this time, and unfortunately, no more ability to cancel this TP, but still a nice, easy kill on the Sand King, and it goes the way of the Storm Spirit once again. He's getting very close to that Bloodstone.
Yeah, he's content just free farming. He wants to do nothing but farm and get kills that is given to him in the lane until he has the Bloodstone completed, and then he will start making the movements on the map. Koikva in the mid lane, he's still getting free farm pretty much, so as long as the Drow Ranger doesn't get killed, they're content with just farming. Escape Gaming, they will give up some time and some farm to the Tinker, who's free farming the jungle as well. He has his Travel Boots completed now, but I don't think they worry too much about the Tinker though, because they have 2 heroes who hard counter him, so him getting farm is not something that is on their mind right now, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, Tinker's strategy, you know, get those boots of travel, go, apply lane pressure, rat a little bit. He didn't really go for the early fighting build. He picked up the 2-2 build in lane. Oh, hold that thought there, as we've got Keizu stuck under the bubble. There will be a rotation back in. The Earth Splitter cleans up the Bat Rider, but now Oracle looking to at least get some revenge. They bring in Yapsor as well, who now has Dismember. The problem is latching that hook, and unfortunately he's not able to find a target. So free kill on the Bat. But back to the point about the Tinker. He's picked up that, you know, ratty style build, max points march the machines. He's going to be applying lane pressure with those boots of travels. But if Drow's Dread actually gets a moment to go in, they push towers so quickly that it doesn't matter how pushed out the lanes are. Now easy return kill on the Sand King, who went up a little bit far forward. Elder Titan now going to be falling victim. The tower does fall immediately. There's the pullback on the Faceless Void, who's able to time walk off the damage. The hook, though, what was that hitbox? I don't know, but either way, Yapzor is able to find a potential kill. Now they're chasing after the Elder Titan, but he's speedy. He's got the Windlace on top of the Tranquil Boots. Pudge, similar story, but looks like Elder Titan should be able to skirt this one away. Oh, unless he stops to go for the Spirit. Hook, Pudge, hook. Blind hook, not gonna latch as the Elder Titan keeps on scurrying out.
Yeah, that was a nice kill though on the Void. They went on the Void. I was a little bit confused because of the Stormsword using his stun on the Void. I was like, are you trying to get more kills than you possibly can? But they baited out the time walk and then, into hook, and the kill was secured, so never mind what I think.
Alright, now Era is invised up, not going to find any targets near the mid lane, but should be able to apply some tower push nonetheless. Drow Ranger finally reaping the fruits of her efforts as Dragonlance will be complete after the next wave.
Yeah, and the Batrider will have his blink deck as well in a very, very short time, so...
TP cancelled out. Elder Titan not going to hop into this mess. This tower burning down very, very quickly. Drow Ranger with the 4 points in Precision Aura, making Era hit that much harder.
Yeah, they're trying to make the trade-off. They're pushing in the top lane at the same time, but they can't really get any towers taken down because a Sand King with the Winter Wyvern, they don't really do too much sieging damage, so the top tier 1 tower will only be hurt a little bit, and in the meantime, the tier 1 tower in the mid lane got taken down by Escape Gaming, and they're even making rotations into the jungle, trying to get some aggressive vision down for the Tinker, and you can see the Oracle. This is pretty much, scouting out where the Tinker will be farming. They should know this, though. Yeah, but they go for the obvious D ward, thinking that it's going to be on the high ground, so... A nice dodgy ward from Escape Gaming, I guess.
It's working out right now. This Observer in the middle of the jungle is scouting out a 4-hero rotation, allowing for Escape to get back and reset. They are going to be bringing in their Drow Ranger. She's got the right clicks. Hopefully she's not the first one to go down. Again, gap close is so brutal up against that Drow. They're going to pop in the Titan Spirit just to get a little bit of eyes on the situation, but... no one going to be initiating. Instead, just some raw push coming out from Era as he's still given freedom. He's got his Bloodstone up in like 2 minutes max.
I think they want to fight this though, because they have the TP available in the Storm Spirit, so you can just TP and then just Ball Lightning jump. They even have a blink on the bat, so they want to do something. TTR.
They're going in. They get the lasso onto the Void, who does have a chrono. Can keep down long enough. And now they have that gust to follow up. Looks like he's going to be trying to get away with all he can. He will be able to time walk off some damage, but again, the chrono not going to be enough to reinitiate here. Keizu burning his way through the trees. He's got that time dilation. And now Flo looking to close that gap onto Koikfa. Koikfa rescued by her own Pudge. Sindarin left to his own devices here in this tree line. He's trapped in. He goes for the TP out. Can Void bash? No, but Titan can stomp. They get down the Oracle. Looks like Batrider now focuses down the Elder Titan. There's going to be a chrono, and it does end up being a little bit fruitful there. Faceless Void, he's going to be just barely alive, hooked in by the Pudge, but no real skills to pay the bills as he will be falling. Okay. All right. Era now back in as he picks up that completed Bloodstone. Blinks coming out left and right. Sand King and Tinker both pick him up, but that was such a messy little fight. What happened there?
That was, well, you said it, that was messy. They went for the Batrider onto the Void. They got the silence with the Drow as well, but they just didn't have the follow-up damage. The Drow Ranger got controlled, and apart from that, the Stormsword wasn't there to begin with, so that's the 2 damage dealers who's not able to do anything against the Void. He survives, he gets the chrono off, and then it's very, very easy to kill the Drow, especially with the Diffusal Blade doing a lot of damage. The Pudge almost killed the Void. Like, that hook took him so low, and he somehow survived, but Yapzor is going to be a little bit sad about that.
Yep, now mid lane, there is an opportunity for the Radiant to go and push out and make up some lost ground. Switching over to our overall net worth chart, it's in favor of Escape, but not by much. That last team fight did cost them. It could have been a really nice momentum swing in their favor, but instead it kind of stalemates things out. Yapzor, he's just manning up here, dodging out a hook. Not going to be latching on that one. Yapzor gets bashed up. He's not long for this world. Goes for the disable briefly onto the Faceless Void, keeping him locked down for as long as possible. Winter Wyvern tries to go for the self-save with the Cold Embrace, and it won't be enough. There's going to be that Purge coming off the lasso, dragging out onto the Faceless Void. He does have the Time Walk available, but nuked down. No chance to get that HP back. They're chasing down this Elder Titan, who's going to be running back past his tier 2. And Escape now have the window they want to be able to push this tower with their Drow Ranger max Precision Aura.
Yeah, that almost looked like the communication wasn't really on point from Escape game because the two heroes were backing off as the Batrider went in, but it worked out. They had enough burst to bring down the Void, and in the end, you know, it didn't end up biting them in the ass, but they weren't like all on the same page. They still got the kill.
Alright, now Era gonna be a little bit locked down. He is able to zip out. Stomp from the Titan is going to lock down too. Now Quakeba has to be really, really careful. There's going to be the Winter's Curse coming back out, but no other heroes to focus him down. Quakeba tosses out a Gust, keeps the Sand King at bay. Now Batrider with the Flame Break trying to help out, but Quakeba is still burning. Blink forward from the Sand King. Double man Burrow Strike. They should be able to finish off the Drow, but Yapzor is able to lock down the Sand King. Caustic Finale still takes care of the Frost Archer though. Hook just barely off the mark. We've got Flappy Bird on Flappy Bird action as Batrider chasing down the slowed Winter Wyvern. Flame Break back into a little bit of damage. Should be enough, but there's going to be a nice little chrono. Eventually, Batrider does get the kill on the Wyvern, but at what cost here? His own life. Era is going to be slowed down. There's that Diffusal Blade charge. He's able to leap forward, though. That is a long leap. Diving aggressively onto the Sand King, and he's going to go for a nice Burrow Strike forward. Can the Sand King get out alive? He's still up. He's still fighting. They lose the Pudge, and Era just barely escaping. He wants to re-engage. Now Cinder, and he's the one in trouble. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to live through this one. Will he pop or will he heal? Looks like that light is still orange, so he does go down. Now Faceless Void. He's just stomping around, feeling really in control of his own territory. Actually connects onto Era, who's leaping forward, still trying to get down that Sand King. But Sand King, he's just scurrying away, not feeling a whole lot of pressure. Drow comes in. There's the silence onto the Void, but not going to last all too long as another re-engage onto Era. He's got very little mana, 16 Bloodstone charges. He goes for the suicide, but drags Quakeba into the midst of the fight. That they cannot afford. They lose the Drow. Hook in from the Pudge, takes care of the Faceless Void, but there's a Stomp to lock down Yapzor as well. This fight has gone on too long. Keizu, what are you doing? Where's your damage? There's going to be the Winter's Curse as Keizu gets wailed on by Era, who now comes back in courtesy of that suicide being really, really short respawn time. Era is able to clean up the Void. Now they're looking for more as they're going to go onto the Elder Titan. They should be able to pick him up, but there's just no more mana available to Stomp. Not going to connect as the Ball Lightning gives that invulnerability, but double damage Sand King. He's looking to make this a real nice fight. The Heat-Seeking Missile comes back in. Burrow Strike. And there's the Flame Break holding back the Sand King. Era does manage to get the kill onto the Sand King. What the actual hell?
Does this fight never end?
Like, what the hell, dude? That was like 3 full respawn cycles.
I'm pretty sure that's still not favorable for Escape Gaming though, because they end up losing the Storm Spirit, which you don't really want. Like, he suicided, sure, but you lost some Bloodstones, and you lost everyone else. Like, Karkva died multiple times in that bottom area as well. Like, he died twice, I think, in the Drow. So the Drow Ranger's net worth, as you can see, it's below the Void, is good while below the Tinker as well. The Storm Spirit is having a good time, sure, but it feels like they're giving so much up on the Drow Ranger that it's just not worth it. The Void has been doing so much with this first item, Diffusal Blade. Like, he's gotten so many kills by just having this simple item.
Yeah, it's a really nice way to amp up your Void before he's able to go for big items, before he's able to really have that massive right-click power. Smoke up for Yellow Submarine. I mean, I guess they're thinking, you know, Escape are just going to keep fighting, keep throwing bodies into the fire. As long as we can continue to take down the Drow, Escape lose so much of their push power. So we'll have to see what's going on there. I mean, how is that fight going to affect Escape's scaling? Because Storm Spirit did really well. Drow Ranger kind of dropped the ball. Well,
the Batrider still has decent items for the time in the game. Like, he has his 4 stuff complete on top of the blink. The Drow Ranger's farm is definitely hurting, and as you talked about actually in the drafting stage, he may go for some of those like sneaky items like the Shadow Blade, because he's not the traditional like safe lane carry Drow who has to do a lot of work. Like, he's more for like walking silence, who gets a couple of pickoffs on the support heroes, maybe gets a pickoff on the Tinker, and then let Era do the work on the Storm Spirit.
Alright, smoke up. Dire Heroes are looking for something, but they're going to have to charge into a smoked up Radiant. Everyone's skirting around. No one wanting to be the first one to start the engage. Pudge not going to throw a blind hook just yet, but this mid lane is no man's land right now.
Yeah, the Tinker is also just looking so scary right now. He has this blink, he has this Aether Lens, and he's a good while into getting that Acronym Scepter as the next item, which I imagine he will go for. It's very typical, at least when you're playing against like push strategies. I guess you can't really call Escape Gaming's draft a push strategy anymore with a Storm Spirit, but you know, they still have a Drow. You know, it's in their blood.
Yeah, Dry Ranger looks like she is going to be grabbing up the Shadow Blade after going for the Dragonlance, so once she gets those items, she should be a lot more formidable in these drawn-out engages, but for now, she's really got to be careful not to be early food, because, again, Elder Titan Spirits have been doing a great job scouting out, going for those stomps, and allowing for Quakefed to be caught out unaware.
Yeah, and the Faceless Void is not going for the Mantis Doll as the next item, which is, one of his worrying points, because Era has this Orchid very, very soon to be complete. I actually think he just purchased it. Yeah, it will be shipping out to him. They do have the Silence and the Draw as well, so they have two things that's very annoying for TTR to deal with the Silence. He can use the Diffusion Blade to purge them off, but typically you don't want to use it for defensive purpose if you can avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's unavoidable, as Void just gotta get home and do Void things, but well, for now, we've reached a little bit of a stalemate, 21 minutes in. Were you expecting Escape to have a little bit more ground covered by now?
I think definitely they lost a lot from that like super drawn out fight. They kept fighting, and once Era died, like once Era suicided, they gave 3 kills in rapid succession where they just went one by one. Sure, they ended up salvaging the fight because Era came in like right after respawning, but it felt like they could have gotten out a lot smoother than that.
Alright, so we'll have to see how they regroup, because I think if this goes ultra late, it will end up favoring Yellow Submarine as the Void can start to really hit hard. The Tinker as well, slowly but surely can apply lane pressure. I think the wild card here is Era on the Storm Spirit. How effective is this Orchid going to be? He's been rotating a lot with the Pudge, but so far they haven't really found those wombo combo ganks they've been looking for.
It's pretty much only going to be insanely good against the Tinker, I would imagine, because the Faceless Void, like I said, he has this Mantis Style suit and he has the Diffusion Blade in case of emergency, so it's not going to be as easy to use it on him, whereas the Tinker, he doesn't have any defensive item, and now, well, Sand King, same story. If he can't Power Strike, he can't live.
Alright, nice way to debut that little Orchid right there. So everyone on the Radiant's going to have to play a little bit safer, knowing Era could be in the wings. And I mean, there's been some crazy map vision going on right now. We got sentries for days going all up against this path. This one just died out, but you've got sentry on sentry action here. Look how close they are. They actually do touch. No one's just found the other one.
Yeah, you can see how much it just annoys Yellow Submarine, so they don't really know where the vision is from Escape Gaming. They have 2 walls up in the Radiant area at the Ancients and one at the top lane, and none of it is getting scouted out. Like, they can't find the walls that Escape Gaming have. They know they have vision, like, in the different places. They just haven't found it.
Alright, now Era with an Aegis, that is a scary sight. Storm Spirit can just zip in, use up all his mana going for the gank, hopefully finds a pickoff. If he respawns, he's got a full mana pool, so as long as he doesn't get silenced or stunned, he can zip to freedom. This should mean that Escape can start to push, although they are playing a little bit cautiously. For a Drow lineup and so many heroes that benefit from that precision aura, the big items are in line for Batrider. He's got his Blink Force. Escape, still playing a little bit passive. They're not going for those big smoke group ups just yet.
They are looking for just making a big push now, though, because they picked up the gem on the Batrider, and with the Aegis as well and the Storm Spirit, they're ready to make some pushes as they feel a little bit more comfortable not having to worry about the Chronosphere, because before this, they had to worry about the potential for Arrow getting picked off in a Chronosphere and then just getting blown up, but with the Aegis, it's not that easy.
Alright, now a hasted Storm Spirit with an Aegis and a completed Bloodstone and an Orchid. That is scary, but somehow this stomp lands. So he's at least stopped in his tracks for now. Radiant, they're playing this one safe. They're not getting too far from their base. They're not crossing the river. And we'll see how effective that's going to be. You really got to get Tinker pushing, doing something, because he hasn't really participated in a whole lot of what's going down. Now with the Aghanim Scepter pickup, though, on this Tinker, he should start with these fights. He's got the Heat-Seeking Missile. He's now got the Bouncing Lasers. So that could be Escape having a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. The Bouncing Lasers, at least when it comes to pushing, this Tinker will be a huge problem for Escape Gaming. It's not so annoying for the Storm Spirit because you can just sit ball like most of the spells. You can't really dodge the laser, but you can dodge the rockets. However, Drow Ranger, he doesn't have that luxury. Like he's the one who's gonna feel the wrath of the Tinker because he doesn't have a BKB, he doesn't have a Mantis Style yet, so he can't dodge he can't dodge the laser. At least the effect from the laser, and he cannot dodge the rockets either. So if anything is shot at him, he will just he will take it in the face.
Alright, so again, for the last couple of minutes, not a whole lot of fighting going on. Storm wants to get the most out of that Aegis. Deep zip in onto the Faceless Void. Will be able to keep him locked down. There's a rotation in immediately from the Tinker and the Elder Titan, but Storm is going to be long gone, zapping himself to freedom, and the Spirit won't be able to keep up with him. So
Yeah,
neat little pick off there. Starting the Storm snowball, but there's a long way to go before it feels like Escape are in charge of this game.
Yeah, this is just, you know, the era show that Escape Gaming is trying to show off, as they do go for the smoke gang on 3 heroes, so they want to set up for something. Era is just pushing in the top lane, and he should be able to rotate to the bottom Era very, very quickly. He does have half of his mana pool, so in case they find anyone in the mid lane, he can go for a long jump. So this is a little bit scary.
TP in. There is going to be the option to TP back out. A nice little blink there. Storm Spirit not going to be there in time. The Pudge Hook just a little bit late. So Storm sitting back, enjoying his free push, but once again, Escape, they commit a lot of resources, they commit a smoke, they commit a full team rotation. Still not finding much. They are allowing Quakefoot to farm, which is neat. He's going to be picking up the Ogre Club, so Sanj and Yasha could be on the horizon for our Drow Ranger.
That was definitely close. I mean, they even knew where he was with the Tinker. Like, he hooked right on top of where he was standing, and they're going out top lane.
Great bait, using the Bad Illusion to try to force out some spells, but Storm Spirit realizing, it's just a little bit more than I can handle, is able to get out in time. Time dilation wearing off soon.
Yeah, and he's going for the Lincoln Sphere as the next item. It's not a huge thing that he needs this game. It's annoying. Well, the Winter Wyvern Curse is definitely a huge spell that he wants to be able to dodge if possible. The other things is pretty much, you know, he can dodge maybe a laser, he can dodge the Borrow Strike, and he can dodge diffusal charges, which is all good. And it makes him get a little bit more mana, so it's a natural transition when you just want to get more mana items and more, like, stat items in general.
Alright, so Quakefoot now getting a little bit of freedom. Drow Ranger has been feeling the pressure most of the game, but now finally being able to push to her heart's content. Storm Spirit does Storm Spirit things, now picking up the Lincoln Sphere recipe. So wanting to be able to dodge out a couple of those single target spells. Not going to block against bouncing lasers though, just to be the initial laser target. So Tinker's Ags will still be useful in this high ground defense.
It just makes the initiations impossible, because Sand King can't initiate with Borrow Strike, it blocks the Borrow Strike as well, and you can't really initiate with the Winter Wyvern Curse either, so, you know, it makes it very hard for Yellow Submarines to find the Storm Spirit. If they ever see him alone in the map farming, they can't really make a jump on him with anyone.
Alright, now, YapzOr just sitting back, trying to bait out something, but I feel like Escape's just not aggressive enough. They're grouping in, they're waiting for Yellow Submarine to respond, but, I mean, Drow Ranger, she's got a Shadow Blade, hasn't shown it off yet. I don't know, maybe that's just me and my ultra-aggressive play style.
On the Tinker in the bottom lane a second ago, so they tried, but they just didn't find the Tinker. The Tinker has been playing very well this game, actually. He's not been caught out anytime, I believe. Like, I've not seen this guy get caught out ever, so he's making some nice moves. He's also just using the TP rotation. Like, he's acting like he's TPing to lanes, then he keeps on cancelling it just to make it a little bit annoying for Escape Gaming to guess where he's gonna go.
Alright, now they are able to go in. Cinderin, unfortunately, most likely hitting the deck here. Gonna be popping after that. There's just too much damage. The Earth Splitter trying to follow up. Batrider caught in a chrono. Easy kill onto KZ. Now YapzOr gets the chance to run for his life. Will the Yellow Submariners show mercy? Looks like it for now, though. Sand King has got that blink Burrow Strike if he wants to reinitiate. YapzOr turtling into the trees. Should be able to get out. Meanwhile, Storm Spirit is able to lay in some damage to this tier 2 tower. Quakefoot going for the solo onto the Tinker. Does end up getting the gust off, but now the range is going to bite him in the ass. One more hit will secure the kill on the Tinker. So nice pick off from Quakefoot. But a very global fight results in the loss of the Bat, the loss of the Oracle. And Storm Spirit, he's still there, ready to push the tier 3s once he sees that everyone else is located in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the pickup on the Tinker actually nearly makes it worth it. The only annoying thing for Escape Gaming is that they lose the gem on the Bat, so they don't have the ability to spot out the Sand King when he's sandstorming, and obviously, you know, they can't take away more wards from the side of Yellow Submarines, because they want to make sure that they don't have vision. And now, oh, Void.
Immediate hook in. There's an immediate response from the Batrider as well, who has picked up those Boots of Travels. So he's going to be rotating, and now here's the group up from Escape that we've been waiting for. Storm Spirit going in, clearing out the creep wave, going to be knocking on this tier 2 tower. I mean, Koikva, now sentry turret status, has the BKB in the stash, but with that Dragonlance Shadow Blade, just sitting back, going for those right clicks, and when something gets scary, she can just hit that panic button and walk away.
Yeah, now Kezu, he's looking for something aggressive. He jumps on PSM.
They are able to get this little target here. Neat little initiation with the Storm Spirit diving very, very deep. The Linkage is going to be popped as Winter Wyvern tried to do anything to keep herself alive. She's going to be dead. No Winter's Curse has been popped out just yet, and Koikva continues to wail on these towers. Heat-seeking missiles are going to go in, dodged out by the Shadow Blade. And now with this next creep wave, the March of the Machines probably won't be enough to hold off all of Escape Gaming, who are still up and still fighting. Era now 18 charges in the Bloodstone and almost 3k gold in the bank. It's getting real tough right now. Without your Elder Titan, without your Wyvern, you lose out on so much initiation. So you fall back on that slow, steady, annoying tick damage of the March of the Machines, but it's not going to be enough in this case to keep all the racks alive. They do end up losing their range racks. Melee are going to be a quick trip back in as soon as the creep wave pushes. You can have someone slippery like the Drow Ranger, even the Storm Spirit go and quickly demolish what's left of them.
That's still a beautiful play from Escape Gaming. Like, they get the quick pick off on the Void in the top area with the Yapstar hook, and then suddenly, you know, they get a couple more kills by going in aggressively in the base. They get the range racks, not the best racks you can get possibly, but it's still so hard to push into this lineup. You can't just naturally push into Tinker without losing something because of how he just spams out lasers and rockets. So they still got a lot, you know. Got a tower, got a rags, got a 3 kills, I believe.
Radiant's Courier went down. I believe that was around the pit. I believe Storm sniped it off. Not exactly sure what happened there. Did miss that one.
We can't even see what items is on the courier.
It was 1200, so I want to say it's a point booster if someone was looking for that Aghanim Scepter.
Well, I guess the Sand King's point booster probably. I guess he's the only who could go for an axe at this point, so not the biggest pick off, but still a little bit annoying, like you said.
Professional casters right here. Either way, now we do have the rotation in. Koikva is going to be invised up from that Shadow Blade. March of the Machines occupying the time, just clearing out the creep wave. Mass TP's back, but it's all a ploy here as Storm Spirit was waiting to be able to clear out the lane as soon as everyone was forced back. Drow Ranger is able to TP home safely, and again, now there's no more TPs off cooldown to be able to go and defend this bottom lane as it's being pushed in by Era.
Yeah, and I like the move from Escape Gaming supports as well, as both of them, they have blink daggers now, so they realize that either they have to be able to get out of a push very, very quickly if it goes wrong, like if they're playing against the Faces Void, he goes in, tries for Chrono, or they have to be able to initiate fast to just follow up on Era's jumps. So blink on Oracle, blink on Pudge, they can move around pretty effectively on the map now, and the Drow Ranger has a BKB as well. He hasn't actually picked it up yet.
Yeah, it's been in the stash for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's having fun there, you know. When it gets a rainy day, I guess when he has the Aegis, he wants to pick it up. He doesn't want to show it before that, maybe, but
either way, it's about to get real for Sindarin. Alone in the bottom lane, Storm Spirit, though, he's going to be the one to reveal it. Blocked into the Chronosphere. There will be a follow-up stun if necessary. There's the Earth Splitter, just rips him apart. Now Sindarin, time dilated up, goes in, has that Glimmer Cape, but there's just too many heroes hot on his heels, and he can do nothing about it. So 2 heroes out of position on Escape Gaming were very thoroughly punished by Elder Titan. And now this does mean that there is an availability to go straight into the Roshan for Yellow Submarine.
Yep, and you know, the only way they can kill the Storm Spirit is with a Chronosphere, but that's a huge kill, you know. It's a 20,000 net worth Storm Spirit that you get killed there.
Koikva?
You pop a lot.
Koikva just walking around, and the March Machines did 3/4 of his health.
Oh, he's playing life dangerously.
Either way.
It's a challenge. He wants it to be a challenge when he goes for pushes.
Roshan is now going to be sitting, awaiting his next takers. And it looks like Era's going to be the first to jump into the pit. The Radiant, they forfeited their aggressive positioning. They got the kills they wanted. They got a couple of neat little pickoffs there. So they're feeling all right. They're not getting strangled out by Escape just yet. And I don't think this next Roche is going to be enough for Escape to end the game.
It pretty much depends on what they can do before the next Chronosphere is available. Like, they have a 30-minute window right now before the Chronosphere is available again. They will probably just go for push straight after this, but it's hard, right? They have to jump into the base very, very deep and try and get a kill on the Tinker or the Void to begin this push, because just naturally going for like the slow siege is not gonna work out.
Alright, so Yapzor, I mean, he's slowly but surely building up. He's got his blink, he's had that for a while. 1,500 more gold for the Pudge. Do you anticipate like a 4-staff or a Glimmer Cape, or what's Big Boy building?
I mean, considering it's Yapzor, he likes to make plays. I would say that even going for an Academ Scepter is not too far off for this guy. Just, you know, spam out hooks as much as you want to.
Alright, so Dire waiting in the wings, waiting for Radiant to overstep their bounds just a little bit. Of course, Storm can start things out by just zipping in, dumping some damage, but it is very risky. Again, the Chronosphere back online from the Faceless Void. He's also got those 2 Diffusal charges left. Shadow Blade as well, so very mobile Void, very sneaky Void. It's hard to lock him down. He's got the Manta style as well.
Yeah, the Drow Ranger has so much farm it's like suddenly in this game. By getting that push earlier where they got the range tracks, he's eclipsing the Tinker. He's not too far ahead of him, but just the fact that he's actually ahead of him is pretty interesting, because Krogva didn't really have any space this game, and he's had a hard game, you know. He may get this Metarax for free, actually.
Yeah, I mean, no one's kind of dealing with Koikva right now. They're going to be going in, spending a Fortify here, and that's going to be a really expensive Fortify, because unless they can completely distract the rest of the Dire, I mean, now the rest of their racks are really vulnerable. Radiant don't have that Fortify up for another couple of minutes.
Yeah, using the Fortify like that is typically if you want to take a fight without losing the Metarax, but, you know, they used the Fortify, they still lost the racks, and yeah, like you said, it's not really a good situation to be in, because now the Drow Ranger can just hit the tower from the low ground in the bottom lane, and they have to jump him. Like, he can just sit there and hit it. He doesn't really have to go in any stupid location to try and take any racks.
Alright, Storm Spirit, he's zipping in, he's spraying out the damage from the Shiva's Guard, but behind the tree line, not much he can do to follow up, so just going in, forcing out a couple of spells, getting back. Pudge even helping out with that. The Earth Splitter not going to connect, courtesy of the hook. Now Era, he's back up to full health, and he can try this all again, just going in, continuing to drop those remnants, giving the tower something to focus on, and well, heat-seeking missiles tickle, but maybe not enough there. Koikva is going to be caught out by that Burrow Strike, but well, that's kind of it for what Sand King can do at this point, until he's ready to fully invest that Epicenter.
That was a huge commitment from PSM though. The Earth Splitter being on cooldown now, that's at least a little bit of satisfaction from Escape Gaming, as that's one cooldown less to worry about, right?
Yeah, Escape slowly but surely tightening that noose. The mid lane is pushing in, courtesy of the super creeps. Bottom lane constantly being controlled. If Radiant take their eyes off it for even a minute, Koikva's going to be able to just jump in. Now focusing down the towers, Storm Spirit takes care of the rest of the heroes, forcing them all back. There is going to be a Chronosphere. Does connect onto Koikva, but there's going to be Cinderin healing him up, doing whatever he can to lock the Void in place. Will it be enough? The Shadow Blade onto the Drow, the Glimmer Cape as well, but she still ends up popping. Really unfortunate now. Era is going to be running away. The Winter's Curse to hold him in place. He is going to have very little mana. Yeah. Can they actually get the suicide off? The Pudge hook back! But unfortunately, the heat-seeking missile still follows him through. The Aegis, they're looking for the lockdown there. Burrow Strike to start things off, and they're just going to dump everything they've got on that Storm Spirit. So in the end, it's going to be Aegis down, 3 heroes down, trading only for a little bit of splash damage on this tier 3 tower. Not the best use of Escape's time.
That's for sure. That was, you know, a surprise initiation from the Faceless Void. He picked up the Shadow Blade to be able to go for that play, so just abusing the fact that the Bat Rider wasn't really in range to spot him out with a gem. And in the end, you know, they get the gem, they get the Bat kill, they get the gem retrieved from him, so that was a gem he purchased after losing the last one. I don't know how long it is. Okay, they have another gem in the stash, so they can buy a new one if they want to, but at this point, you can see the Bat Rider, he wants to get his next item, he wants to get the BKB, because the March of the Machine is too annoying for him. Like, he can't go deep and pick up the Tinker without having a BKB at this point.
Yeah, Tinker now with that Scythe of Vice, going to make things even more difficult for the Storm Spirit and the Drow Ranger. All they've got to do is invest something to pop that Storm Lincolns, and if he's hexed down, easy pickings. Again, we saw how quickly Radiant were able to pick apart the Storm Spirit when they know he doesn't have his Ball Lightning available.
Yep, it can definitely get very scary, and they bank so much in what Era can do this game, and with the Shiva Scar, with the Orchid, he's doing a lot of damage when he finally gets a pick on someone, but if there's no follow-up from his team, he can't just go in on one person and commit for them. They have defensive glimmers, they have defensive eel scepters on the heroes. On the side of Yellow Submarines, they have the Winter Wyvern with the Cold Embrace that it won't block out all of the damage, but it will block out a lot of it. So it's not the easiest Storm Spirit game suddenly, where Yellow Submarines, they just have a lot of items to deal with it.
Alright, so Cinderin once again just really out on his own. He does have TPs, he has a Glimmer Cape, but I guess he's protected by this Observer Ward. Risky positioning. He's been kind of doing his own thing in the bot lane for a while now. Is going to get pinged out by the Radiant Heroes. We'll see if they want to go and actually decide to do something about that. Meanwhile, Era, he is ready to jump in to help his friend if necessary, but only 8 Bloodstone charges. His mana pool is not quite as full as it used to be.
And he even picks up some dust now, as you can see. Like that vision that he hasn't been able to get on the Sand King has really been biting his ass.
Nice scan from the Dire will reveal that there's some sort of rotation through the jungle, so Cinderin has some time to react. Now they're going to be leading the charge with Keizu on the Bat Rider. He blinks forward. He is able to grab up the Elder Titan. They do have the vision, like you mentioned, on the Storm Spirit. Meanwhile, the Chrono going to be a complete whiff. Koifa walks into it, not able to do any damage from the back lines of this fight. Now there's going to be a hook in, able to save Era. Fantastic playing there. One more heat seeking missile strikes out as the Tinker, he tries to get away, but is going to be uled up in the air by the Pudge. Yapsor going to be dealing with him on a one-on-one basis. Meanwhile, there's going to be 3 heroes chasing down Koifa underneath the BKB. They get the bashes. They should still be able to finish off the Dry Ranger, but there is going to be the Shadow Blade. Do they have the vision? The gem's going to be on the Sand King. He needs to get close enough, and he will. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Oracle was able to take down the Winter Wyvern, so it's going to be a 2 for 2. Pretty even fight so far if they can keep things going their way, but unfortunately losing the Pudge and now a re-engage. Era gonna get his Lincolns broken, will be able to jump to freedom. Not ideal for Escape. It seems like they're losing a little bit of momentum each and every fight. They're just a little bit less potent, a little bit able to go in and take those really easy pickoffs. Is this the start of Yellow Submarine starting to pick up momentum in their favor?
It looks that way. I mean, the Dry Ranger in the late game is just not looking that scary anymore. The Faceless Void can very easily kill him if he gets a Chrono off on him. And Era has to play so conservative, because if he is too far out and gets hit by the Chronosphere, he's the one who will fall down, and they need Era to do the damage. He got the kill onto the Tinker with the help of the Pudge, so, you know, they made a nice play to get the kill on him. But trading the Tinker plus the Elder Titan for 3 heroes is still not going to be worth it, because Escape Gaming, they want to close out this game as quick as possible, because like you said, the later the game goes on, the Tinker, he has his Hex. The next item that he will pick up will be the Bloodstone, so he will have the faster respawn timers as well if he gets killed. And, you know, the Void still has a lot of room to grow, so it's gonna be scary.
Yeah, I mean, this is the point you don't want to get to when you're in a Drow strat, where you went in, you actually did end up taking 1 lane of Rax, you've poked your nose at another lane of Rax, but you just weren't able to kind of dive in, get the job done, and now you know your heroes are naturally losing a little bit of steam. You've got to get that one really nice team fight. You've got to get Escape all together, all alive, charging in, pushing together, and they can definitely still end, but it's so frustrating because you just realize that you're not as powerful as you were before. You're feeling that drop off as heroes, like you mentioned, like the Void and the Tinker are really starting to come online.
Yeah, I think Escape Gaming is pretty much in the position where the next Roshan, which will be up in a couple of minutes with the cheese, is their biggest momentum that they will have, like, going further into the game. After that, if they can't at least, you know, get a couple of kills, force some buybacks, or get a set of racks, I feel like it's going to be, you know, a harder climb from there on out, as Yellow Submarines, they will be in a position where they can easily, like, even win the game, you know, make their own pushes happening. They haven't gotten any tier 2 towers yet, so, you know, it's not like Escape Gaming will just instantly lose the game, but they will lose some momentum, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to get tougher and tougher. This Drow Ranger just hasn't been staying alive a whole lot. 7 deaths already. The Shadow Blade has been used pretty defensively. Now with the Butterfly pickup, the evasion should help out. BKB still at a decent amount of charges, but I mean, Drow needs to stay alive in these fights to have any sort of impact. It's basic knowledge, it's really obvious, but if you can't keep her far enough away from really ganky, aggressive heroes, then she shouldn't be in the fights at all. She just can't afford to die.
Yep, and you can see with the next item on Storm Spirit, I imagine he will go for a Hex himself, so he can, you know, jump in and potentially even start killing the Faceless Void himself, because with the Orchid, it's just like the Orchid is not enough to kill him. The only thing he has right now is the Electric Vortex to stop him from moving with the stun on the TTR, but he wants something more so he can, you know, reliably actually kill the Void.
Alright, let's see what's going down here as we've got a full smoke up Radiant. I mean, they know they're at a really nice power spike right now. They want to get the most out of this, and now, oh god, a hasted Void. Gonna be all up in your business. There's gonna be the opportunity for a phenomenal Chronosphere, but Gem Vision comes in handy, but there's gonna be a nice little Winter's Curse Cinder, and he's trying to get away. Yapzor tries to hook him in, but unfortunately he still dies. Chronosphere onto Quake for this. Gonna be an Epicenter channeled up as well. Flow trying to do what he can to lock down the Batrider. He's getting very, very low. There will be that Dismember popped out. Winter Wyvern going for the heal onto the Faceless Void. He's still up, and he's still able to fight. He leaps up onto the cliff. There's gems dropped out every which way. Yapzor gonna get hexed up. I think this may be the end. There's no buyback on the Oracle, no buyback on the Bat or the Pudge. And there's just a couple of heroes left alive. The two big damage dealers do survive the fight, but they've got no support now. Meanwhile, mid lane, someone's gonna get back and deal with the super creeps, but it seems like Yellow Submarine are finally hitting their forte, finally able to go in for these big team fights and not worry about the lockdown of the Storm because he's so easily countered right now.
Yeah, and even when they got the lockdown on the Faceless Void, you know, the Winter Iron comes in, he uses the Cold Embrace, and then they just can't kill him fast enough. They don't have that much magical damage. Yeah, sure, the Stormsman has his Shiva God, he has his Overload charges that does a little bit of magical damage, but most of his damage will still be physical, so it's just not that easy to kill the Void, especially with the Winter Iron always being next to him ready to help him, so that was another good fight for the side of Yellow Submarines. They didn't get the Roshan because, unluckily for them, the Roshan is a late respawn timer. It's one of the latest ones it can be. So that's at least, you know, something going well for Escape Gaming, that they have the luck on their side. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, if Escape are able to lock down this Roshan, maybe they can just go in deep enough and finally get down a second lane of Rax. But I mean, for now, they're just struggling. They're fighting against a really strong current, trying to keep themselves above water, but right now they're sinking. Escape losing their hold on this game. The net worth is soon to be going in the Radiant's favor. Similar story with XP. Now there is going to be a scan. Oh god, they know he's there. Can they keep him locked down? There's going to be a Yules to hold him up. So Arrow will be able to get out alive. Now Keizu, he's contemplating going in for that Blink Lasso, but does he know just how big of a target he's about to dive on? I'm not quite sure. He's at the ready. The March of the Machines cancels the Blink, so he can't move forward. He has the Force. Will he be able to drag out the Winter Wyvern? Looks like it. Now Flo's there. Available Burrow Strike goes in, catches out Keizu. Nice silence though. The Guts connecting onto two. There's going to be that nice little hit immunity. Ghost Scepter comes up, will not keep Sand King alive. There's a gem right next to his corpse. Who's going to be going in to grab that one? Well, it's just sitting straight for now as Quakefa wants to go in for more. Initiation Yapzor looking for the hooks, trying to get the TP onto the Elder Titan. No! Going to be just a little bit off the mark. Meanwhile, alright, you know, gem's low value, who cares?
No one wants the gem, man. Oh, he's like, oh, there's a gem here.
He already got one, he's cool. Courier comes out for it, but overall, really nice fight for Escape Gaming, and it does allow them to take the Roche. This is perhaps Escape's last chance to solidify their lead, their map control, to go in and actually get the job done. They need another lane of Rax. They need these tier 4s if they can even hope to take this game any later.
Yeah, finally they got the jump that they wanted to. They need to realize, and well, which they also did in that fight, that they need to jump the Winter Iron first and get the kill on him. Keizu, he got the lasso on him, they knocked him down, killed him first, and without the Winter Iron, it's a lot easier to kill multiple people because you don't have that hero who can just like stop any kind of aggressive moves on them. So, you know, they got the Sand King on top of that. Yellow Submarines, they did manage to pull out with the rest of the heroes, but it's still fine, you know, 2 heroes, they get the Roshan secured, they get the cheese on top of that, so Escape Gaming, they're once again in a decent position at least.
Yeah, I mean, overall net worth, it's in their favor, but really not by a lot. I'm actually surprised there was no, you know, group up rotation after that really nice Roche play. After they had those death timers going for themselves, they kind of split up and individually went off and bought their items and cleared out their waves, but I would have liked to see, you know, a group smoke go in, apply some pressure to the Rax while there's no heroes available to keep them alive. Like, there's no Winter Wyvern, there's no Titan. Capitalize on that.
Yeah, perhaps they could have. They could have gone for some smoke gangs. The thing is that a 5-on-5 team fight, like where you all group together and you know you go as a 5-man unit, is not really the easiest thing to pull off as Escape Gaming, because if you group up too much, you will just end up being jumped by the Sand King, jumped by the Chronosphere from the Void or something like that, which could end up very, very badly. So they're better off, you know, just splitting up and trying to get pickoffs. They may have tried to go for pickoff in the what's it called, in the base of Yellow Submarines here now as well in the bottom lane, but they decide that they rather want to just push out the lanes before they go for a push. They have, what, 3-4 minutes left on the Aegis anyway, so it's not like they're in any rush by any means.
Yeah, I just worry that if Escape keeps sitting back, keep pushing out the waves. I mean, Tinker, he can take care of wave push just fine. You give him a couple of free minutes on the map and Escape are right back where they started. And if there's no tower push, Escape are just kind of, again, treading water, losing ground. I think Void, now a very formidable carry. You've got the Tinker that can lay in a lot of damage. Heck, even the Sand King now with that Aghanim Scepter, he's able to go pretty deep into these teamfights.
Yeah, he has an Aghanim Scepter, so he can initiate from a super long range away. He has the Ghost Scepter as well, so it makes him pretty much immune when it comes to actually dying after he goes in, because, like I said, most of the damage from the side of Escape Gaming will still be physical, even if the Storm Spirit has, you know, some magical damage in, like, imbued to the hits or whatever.
Alright, it's getting pretty tough now. Overall, hero level, I mean, you've got your Storm Spirit just about capped out. Everyone else kind of sitting pretty evenly. No one's rapidly falling behind. You'd like to see Wyvern get her level 3 ulti, but good things take time. Now Faceless Void, he saved himself 5k gold. What's his next big purchase?
I think he's kind of wondering whether or not he wants to get the MKB because of the butterfly and the drow, but I don't think that's necessary this game. I think either he goes for like a BKB or he goes for a big item like a refresh up so they can, you know, have double chrono and then just bank for one big team fight to be able to shut out Escape Gaming. I think that's the two plays that would be, you know, most beneficial or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of room for growth on the Dire side. They're certainly not capped out. Now, Storm Spirit taking advantage of Radiant not being right there to punish him and does allow for this creep wave to push in pretty aggressively. Tinker's now fully occupied, keeping these creeps at bay. And there's going to be some pressure exerted by Synderen in the bottom lane as well. Oh, Flow goes in. There's going to be the hook back, keeping Synderen alive. Again, there is that epicenter available. Goes in for the Yules. Are they actually going to be able to go in for the catch? Heat-seeking missile bops him up, and looks like Synderen, once again, bailed out by Yapzor, blinks forward. There's just blinks every which way. Synderen, how is he doing this? How is he occupying so much time? Meanwhile, top lane, Storm Spirit's pushing in the barracks, and they're going in. They don't get the hook onto the Sand King. He's going to burrow strike his way away. He does not have any ability to get out of there, so he's going to be latched in as Era comes in, drops the gem on the deck. Who needs gems? There's like 8 of them in play right now. And this is going to be a very nice fight for Escape. Sand King goes down with no buyback. And there was a little bit of chip damage on the top tower as well.
And I believe that was the last gem that Yellow Submarines have control of. So, and they also bought out a gem before that. So that was them buying a gem to have it on Sand King, and now they have no gem whatsoever for the next like 4 minutes unless they get one retrieved. So it's a little bit annoying, you know. If you don't have gems, you know, Escape Gaming, they have 3 gems in control, so they can lose a couple without it mattering.
All right, now Batrider here, he's essentially fully slotted. He's had that gem that he's got forever. He now has a full BKB as well, so he can just jump in, get a drag, and not really have to worry about getting victimized too heavily. Let the rest of his teammates do the work. Quakefa, though, so timid. He's got an MKB on himself as well. Let's see how this plays out as Escape finally feel ready to push in and apply a little bit of damage to the tier 3.
And Quakefa, he's running pretty fast, you know. He's taking it very, very slow and conservative. He knows that if he's too greedy about his pushes, he can just get jumped on by the Void and then instantly get killed. So they want to make sure that he stays as close to full HP as possible whenever he goes in and like does a couple of shots onto the high ground. And it's working out, you know. The tier 3 tower on the top lane is down, the tier 3 tower on the bottom lane is very close to dropping down, so the towers falling will at least be, you know, a step in the right direction. Then they can maybe even decide to go for some high ground vision, like put down some aggressive walls on the high ground and then make plays with that. So Escape Gaming, they're playing, you know, as slow as they kind of have to, I guess.
Quakefa?
Or not.
Well, that's just a big question mark in my head, because everything you were saying made a whole lot of sense about playing conservatively. Then Drow just YOLOs in. Now Yapzor is going to be hexed up. I don't think he gets out of this one, as there's just a big bushel of heroes to take care of him. But they did make space for this top lane, however. Storm Spirit able to apply a bit of damage to that, but I certainly don't think it's worth the life of your Drow and Pudge. There's buyback on the Drow Ranger, but now with such a big opening, Yellow Submarine should be able to leave their base and clear out their lanes.
Yeah, that was interesting for sure. They shouldn't have to buy back on the Draw Ranger because I don't think Yellow Submarines can push fast enough because they have to first like de-push all of the lanes and then go for push, and all of the tier 2 towers are still standing from Escape Gaming, so they won't be using any buybacks. But like you said, that was definitely interesting. Even if that was, you know, an attempt to make space for the top lane to be pushed in by the Storm Spirit, doing half of a range frag's damage is not worth 2 lives.
Yeah, I mean, look how easily Yellow Submarine are able to just cruise out of their base. They're wrapping around. They're feeling comfortable. I mean, they're going to apply a little bit of pressure to Era, make sure he doesn't stick around. Finally going to take out this tier 1. No backdoor protection on this puppy. So he's just going to get whacked down nice and easy. But it just feels like, even right now, Cinder in such a vulnerable position. They do have the Storm Spirit zipping through. Not going to be able to catch out the Tinker in time. Escape are grasping at straws right now. They're still trying to apply that pressure. They're trying to be the aggressors, but they've got to realize they're playing from a pretty strong back foot.
Yeah, you can pretty much put no mark on what this Tinker is doing. Like, it's a Tinker versus a Bat Rider versus a Pudge who can hook you versus a Storm Spirit who can slip across the map and find you, and he's just never getting caught when he's pushing.
So lane's kind of evening out here. We are going to have the Tinker taking care of top, but still fully intact racks. I mean, the range racks took a little bit of a beating, but nothing it can't deal with. Mid lane, I mean, that's the only lane of full super creeps, but still very easily cleaned up. Pretty much everyone on the side of Yellow Submarine can easily clear right now. Even, you know, not necessarily right-clicky heroes like the Titan. They've still got a formidable stomp.
Oh, bottom lane though, Sand King.
Yeah, he goes in, but does Era know just how much he's biting off right here? There is going to be the Winter's Curse in the back line. Catches at the Pudge. There's still going to be no save there. Oh, they go in. The Pudge misses the hook, not able to get anything. Meanwhile, a fully channeled up Epicenter means they are going to drop the Oracle first, so no more saves coming out. Pudge is going to be Yuled in place. Looks like Storm Spirit just trying to run while he has the chance. Beat, bop, zap comes out from the Dagon of this Tinker. A neat little pickup right there. Meanwhile, in the base, it was all a ploy. They get down the tier 4s. They're trying to rat Bat Rider. He TP'd in to the pushed in creep wave, but Keizu might pay the ultimate price for his greed. He just wanted to help his team, just wanted to take advantage of the space, but ends up dying and dropping another gem, giving it back to the Sand King. Now we have a refresher orb on the Bat Rider, so he can lasso for days, but he
double
chips the
BKB, double lasso, and you know, they got the top set of racks, they got the tier 4 towers with the drow, so I mean, considering the fact that they would probably still lose that fight bottom lane with the Chronosphere landing on the Storm Spirit, which was huge, like, I'm surprised he actually survived that, but they got a set of racks, you know, they got a tier 4 tower, so it's still looking pretty grim for the side of Yellow Submarines, considering the fact that even if they win the next team fight, they can't, like, naturally just, you know, 5-man down mid lane and win the game off of that, because the tier 2 towers are standing, buybacks is available, fortification is up from Escape Gaming, so they have a lot of room to work with, even going for these very, maybe, you know, questionable plays. You know, they give up kills but end up getting some towers, some racks and whatnot. It still seems like it's worth it in the end.
Yeah, there's a lot of space being made. As long as Yellow Submarine continue to clear out the lanes to the river, they shouldn't have to worry too much about those TP and rotations. But now, oh, here we've got Elder Titan just in the world of hurt. Is going to get latched in by the Pudge. The hook connects. He goes in. Although Faceless Void looks to turn things up to Yapstor. The Bash Lord strikes again as he just completely locks down the Pudge. Now Kef is in some trouble. Silenced up. They're going to be able to get the kill on the Tinker as well. Tinker has no buyback. This is huge. There's going to be a stomp out from Elder Titan, but it's canceled. Oh man, Era just lacing in the pain. And now finally the Bat Rider looking for the one survivor. They should be able to find everything. Storm Spirit TPing forward is going to be able to find the Sand King. Oh gosh, that's going to be a scary, scary fight. He's going to be moving forward up into the top lane, wrapping around. Perfect jump there from Era. There's going to be that Yules to buy a little bit of time, goes in for the Ghost Scepter, but as long as Era keeps hot on his tail, should be able to find a full team wipe now. There's buybacks. If you have them buy back, get into this fight, as it looks like at Escape. They're looking to finish it off, man. The Ancient is exposed. They've just got to break a little bit of backdoor protection, bring a couple of creeps in the base. Faceless Void has no Chronosphere. There's one Diffusal Blade left. The March of the Machines keeping the base alive. Escape. They aren't able to end it right here, right now, but they take back control of the game. They seize the reins right out from under Yellow Submarine, and they give him another warning shot. This is getting very, very tense now. 60 minutes in.
Yeah, that's what apparently what happens when the Chronosphere isn't used on either the Drow Ranger or the Storm Spirit. The Tinker was also just so much out of position there. The Storm Spirit finally got a jump on him, and I believe that was the first time in the game where they actually got a jump on the Tinker without like him having his whole team to defend him. They ended up getting so many kills, forcing out 3 buybacks. They got the Roshan. So Escape Gaming, they are in control of the game again.
Smoke on smoke action here. It might all come down to this big fight here. There's very few buybacks going in. Oh, the Winter's Curse! Batrider looks like he might get dropped, though. Oracle is able to apply a little bit of save. This could be the Glimmer Cape to keep him in Viz as well. So Keizu should end up living through this, just barely. Is going to have to heal up a little bit. Storm jumping forward is going to pop out that Shiva's Guard. Goes in. BKBs, they get the silence here onto the Tinker. Now Void is going to trap Quakefoot into that Chronosphere. The Earth Splitter coming in, doing a decent amount of damage. Drow Ranger drop. She has buyback, though. They're going to be focusing onto the Sand King. They are going to get the Oracle down in the process, but still a neat little pickoff there. Now Faceless Void, he's chasing after him, looking for something. Again, more and more gems on the deck. Era, he's going to be hexed up, surrounded upon by 3. Can he get out of this? He zips away. There is going to be no refresher on the bat. He already spent it up, so no more lassos going his way. They get the slow off, courtesy of the Shiva's Guard, so Void shouldn't be able to chase him that much further. Now there is going to be the cheese eaten up by Yapsor.
The first cheese, they had 2.
Oh god, they had, okay, so we're just opening a cheese shop right now. Either way, Keizu able to push out the lane. These Void Manta Illusions not going to be doing a whole lot. And they are easily picked apart. Now mid lane is pushing in, top lane is pushing in. There's only so much our little Tinker can do. It's getting down to crunch time here. What a back and forth game it's been, but looks like it is starting to slope into Escape's favor for perhaps the final time.
Yeah, that looked very, very scary. If Era died, that could have been horrible. But Yapso, you know, he passes the cheeses that he was holding onto him. He gets one of them eaten and he's fine. He did lose the Aegis as well. The Drow Ranger got killed even through the BKB because of the Chronos. You know, if you get Chrono, you're pretty much always going to be dead because the Void just does enough damage. He has that MKB that he decided to go for. He has the Blink plus Shadow Blade, so he's very, very heavy when it comes to utility. And if he gets the good Chronospheres off, then it's just more than enough for him to just solo kill people.
Batrider, he's ready with that lasso again. Does have the refresher as well, so he's got those 2 AKBs, 3 lassos. So,
2 lassos.
Yeah. Alright. We'll see how the next fight's gonna break out, but for now it looks like everyone backing off. Cinderin respawning, finding his way back in. Quakefoot still needs to finish off whatever next item he's working on. He's still farming, he's still trying to scale up, but it feels like a Drow Ranger. I mean, he's pushing at capacity right now. What do you sell at this point? Do you level up your Boots of Travel? Do you get rid of your Dragon Lance? Do you drop the Shadow Blade? What's your play?
I would say that the Shadow Blade is definitely an item that he should consider dropping. Maybe he wants to upgrade it to Silver so you can take away the bash from the Faceless Void, which is actually pretty nice. You know, if you make him unable to bash, you can at least have some survivability. I don't think he will drop down both. Like, he will either keep the Dragon Lance as a Hurricane Pike
drag
or the
forward here. They've got the vision. You got gems for days. There's going to be a Yule's up, but hook back in. Oh, the Epicenter channeled up by Flow, though, doing a fair amount of damage to the punch. There's going to be 2 heroes caught out in the chrono. 3 as Yapsor drops back down to earth. Nice gust from the Drow Ranger, and a Winter's Curse finishes off the Pudge. And there is going to be the refresher, as there is going to be a drag coming back out. Winter Wyvern sitting there, just dragged up in place. Era, he's still up and he's still fighting. Does manage to kill off the Winter Wyvern through that Cold Embrace, and now, oh, nice silence, the gust, turning things in favor of Escape. They should be able to get the Sand King down here as well. Gems all over the place, doesn't even matter. They're going straight into the throne. GG, well played, called out finally. After a 62-minute game, Escape, they fought long and they fought hard, and in the end, they finally succeed, taking this series in 2-0 fashion. Whew.
I mean, Arrow, what a god, you know. Silence the Sand King, stun the Faceless Void, you know, easy peasy.
That was definitely a treat to watch. Very, very back and forth. There were a couple moments there where Yellow Submarine looked like they had finally squished down the Escape, but they just kept coming back, and in the end, they do get it done on the back of a very, very farmed Batrider. Nice little Storm Spirit, so wonderful to watch here. Again, Escape 2-0 this 2-game series, so they're going to be moving forward with a nice high score for themselves, and that's going to do it for us here on this channel. But don't worry, there is still going to be more BTS Series EU coming at you. I'm going to kick over the microphone to the Lyrical Gangster. So in just a couple of moments, the stream will go offline, but don't worry, it'll be right back. So stick around for more BTS Series EU. But first, shameless plugs. Mad Kings, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you had a great time. And where can everyone find you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I hope everyone enjoyed it as well. You can find me at Twitter on MadKingsDota. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed.
All right, and I'm AnneeDroid. You can call me Annie if you want or not. You can find me on Twitter at AnneeDroid with 2 E's, or on Twitch or Reddit. Same story. Again, thank you guys for watching. Gonna kick it over to the wait screen. Stick around because there will be Pro Dota versus Level Up next here on this channel.